Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of On the Road to Discovery with myself. So today I will be doing a story time on how God called me to this platform. Now, for anyone that feels like they are being called by God to anything, whether you're being called to be a dancer, a singer, businesswoman, beautician, whatever it may be, I hope that in my story you find confirmation for your suspicions. Maybe you're suspecting that, oh my gosh, God is calling me to start this business. God is calling me to get serious about my YouTube channel, about my platform, about my dancing. Maybe let me shoot more dancing videos, whatever it may be. I hope that you get confirmation from my story, and it confirms your suspicions. So where do I start? God is very strategic because 6 months before my awakening, I call it my awakening because it is a situation that brought me close to God, and that was my heartbreak. So 6 months before that happened, God sent me a friend. We met on my way from work. I was still um, busy with my learnership, and we met. We were in a taxi. Yes, we were in a taxi. We started having a conversation, and somehow we started talking about God. And he shared his journey, and then he asked me, and I was just like, listen, I believe in God. I am making an effort to build a relationship with Him, and I shared with him that I was reading Daniel. Yes, I had been reading that book, the book of Daniel, for like a while, a long time, and I've been trying. Like when we met, I was honestly making an effort. I was making an effort to get to know God, to build a relationship with Him, but I was still in the world. I was still doing worldly things. I wasn't, I don't want to say I didn't take it serious, but I was not locked in like that. I remember I would pray every day before I go to bed. It was sort of like a habit, something that I was used to doing. I would watch Sarah Jake's sermons. I did make an attempt. But now when I met this friend, he literally became so committed in making sure that I build a relationship with God intentionally, that I take the necessary steps, that I do the necessary work. I do not know why, but looking back, I believe that God sent him into my life. God used him to introduce himself to me because he literally would preach the gospel to me. He did not, guys, he was so persistent. Like, there were times where I'll be like so annoyed. I'm just like, you're doing too much. But yeah, he encouraged me to be more intentional in reading the word. And literally, if I would tell him that, okay, I'm gonna try read this book, I'm gonna try read this, he would literally ask me, okay, what did you get from that? What did you learn from that? And guys, it was at that time I felt like he was doing too much, but I did comply. And he would also recommend verses for me to read, books for me to read, and he would ask me, what did you get from that? What did you get from that? And slowly started being encouraged to attend church again. He would invite me to home cells, and slowly but surely my walls started to fall down, but I was still in the world. I was still doing some worldly stuff, but slowly but surely things started to fall away. And 6 months later, things started to fall away, and 6 months later I experienced heartbreak. And now the first thing that I do is just lean into God, because these past 6 months, the whole time, I've been learning about this God. I've been, going to church. I've been, investing in my relationship with Him. And automatically, the first thing that I do is just fall into God's shoulders, and He comes to my rescue immediately. It's as if He was waiting for this to happen, and because this friend has been teaching me about God, I was able to recognize God's voice when he called me as well, but also when he was comforting me during this time. So what had happened was I just started having this desire to start this Esther fast. I don't know where I saw it. I think I saw it on TikTok, and I started feeling like, oh, I wanna join this, but for healing, because I was hurting so bad, like, guys, I was in pain, and I thought to myself, I want to try this, but I want to fast for healing. That's literally all that I wanted. I wanted to heal. I wanted the pain to go away. So I don't make the decision yet that, okay, I'm going to do the Esther fast. I'm still thinking about it. And then that Wednesday, I was attending home cell. So we were reading the book of Romans. So I'm paging through the Bible. I'm looking for the book of Romans. And I just landed in the book of Esther. And I'm like, could this be? I was like, no. I am paging through the Bible. I am bound to land on something, So I'm just like, you know what? It's fine, whatever. I carry on with my day. So the following morning, as I get off at my second stop, I pause. So I'm sitting at the back in the taxi. I was using a taxi to travel. I'm sitting at the back. So I'm walking from the back to the front so that I can get off at my stop. So as I walk past, I don't know why, I glance at this lady's phone and I see that she is on her Bible app. She's reading something. And guess what she's reading? The book of Esther. So I get off the text and I'm like, could that be a coincidence? I'm like, no, it can't be. So there and then I decide that, okay, I'm going to do the Esther fast. I'm going to, read the book of Esther. I'm going to start this. It's not a coincidence. I'm doing it. So cool. The next morning, I start reading the book of Esther. I managed to read chapter 1 and 2 while I'm in the taxi. I get off at my stop. And so, guys, the walk from the stop to work was like 20 minutes minus, but it was a very long walk. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, I'm going to have to listen to something while I walk to work. And I remember that I saw a video on TikTok of Sarah Jakes speaking about the other woman, and honestly, I relate so much to that. So I'm gonna try watch that. So I go on YouTube and I search Sarah Jakes, the other woman, and a sermon titled "Boundaries and Becoming" comes up, and it was that very same outfit that I saw. So I knew that this is the video. So I watched the video, right, and as I click onto the video, the first thing that Sarah says is that when I was preparing for this sermon, I read from Esther chapter 1 and 2, and I immediately freeze in the middle of the street. I'm like, what? What? What are the odds that, first of all, this sermon is based on the book of Esther? And I just finished reading chapter 1 and 2. So I'm like, this is crazy. So I carry on playing the video. I listen and oh my goodness, it felt like she was unpacking what I was going through. It felt like she was unpacking my situation. That sermon was personalized. I don't know how God, okay, let me not say I don't know how God knew I was going to go through that. He obviously knew. But that sermon felt like it was personalized for me. Like she unpacked my situation. She's like, it felt like she was speaking to me. And I was like, oh my goodness. Like, guys, I was in shock. And so I completed the Esther fast. I finished reading the book of Esther, and then I get this urge now to to share what I've just went through, through this fast, because I kept on getting revelations. A lot of things were happening to me during this fast, So I get the urge to share my story of what I went through and share my testimony of how God stepped in, just everything that happened. I get the desire to do that. And I tell my friend about it, and he's like to me, oh my gosh, that's a great idea. Do it. I was hoping he's going to be like, no, that's a bit too much, because that's how I felt. First of all, I'm an introvert. I'm shy. I don't speak much. I don't like being out there. And now I'm getting the desire to record myself and share my story, share my testimony to everyone out there. This desire, it was not something that I felt like, oh, share your story to like a few people or share with your sister. No, it was a desire to shoot a whole video and put it out there for everyone to see, for everyone to hear the testimony, for everyone that is going through it. Like, yeah. So I'm in doubt. I'm just like, no, this is not me. Doesn't match my personality. I'm not this person. I don't want to do this. I don't want to put my business out there because that's literally what this desire is telling me to do, to put my business out there. So I'm not agreeing. I'm like, no, I need to crush the desire. I'm gonna ignore it. So I ignore it. I ignore it. So the next day, right, I'm going to do my hair. And as I finish early, so I walk back home. And on my way back home, there's this it's a salon, yeah, it's a salon, but they also do nails. And I'm like, you know what, I want to do my toenails. So I go there and I tell the lady that I don't have cash. Can I send her a cash send? And then she gives me her number. So as I save her number, I'm getting ready to send her the cash send digits. I get curious, so I view her catalog of price list and the type and the nails that she's done, but I see on her status, not the status that she posts, the permanent status. Her permanent status says Esther chapter 4 verse 14. So Esther chapter 4 verse 14 says, "If you remain silent, deliverance will come from another place. What if you were put into this position for such a time as this?" So I see that and I'm like, okay, that's weird. Cool. I move on with my life. The next morning, I'm viewing my statuses. Now, this is the statuses that you post. I view my statuses, and one of my contacts posted Esther chapter 4, verse 14. "If you remain silent, deliverance will come from another place." What if you were put into this position for such a time as this? And I'm like, okay, okay. And then later on that morning, I found out that, okay, that was the verse of the day. So I'm like, oh, it was the verse of the day, so what? No big deal. Cool. So, yeah, guys, I'm like deep in this journey, in my journey with God. I'm trying to build a relationship with Him. I'm very intentional. My spirit, my soul is locked in. Like, I'm locked in. I want to go deeper. I want to go deeper. So I attend this youth conference at my church. We had guest speakers, and the first night we had I think it was Pastor J Makopo. So he's the first speaker, and the first thing he says, he's like, the subject for this sermon, I don't know, was the sermon or yeah, the subject for the sermon is titled "For Such a Time as This." I literally freeze and I look around, and my mouth was wide open. I'm like, no ways, no ways. And I just sit there and I'm just like, I probably have to do this. Guys, before I attended this youth conference, the verse continued to haunt me. Like, you know how TikTok is. I would see it on TikTok. I would randomly see it just in weird random places. And when I attended this youth conference, when Pastor Jay said that today's title is "For Such a Time as This," it was at that moment I decided that, you know what, okay, I'll do it. I will record the video. I will share my testimony. I will do it because, guys, this verse was starting to haunt me. Like, it was not going to leave me alone until I did this. So I recorded the video, shared my story, my testimony, and after recording the first video, I started getting more ideas, more ideas. Till this day, till this moment, I've been getting more and more video ideas. All I had to do was to be obedient when he gave me that one instruction, and more instructions started to come. More instructions started to come. So what I want to say is that if you're thinking to yourself, how do I start a relationship with God? How do I get back on track after backsliding? I would say just simply make the effort, try to pray as much as you can, try to read your word, try to watch sermons, and God will see that, and that is you opening the door for him to come in. I feel like as I was making these efforts, he was like, "Okay, she's trying. Let me send one of my sheep to go fetch my other sheep. Let me send an evangelist into her life that can, school her properly, that can introduce me to her properly." Because I was making an effort, I opened that door, and God made sure to make sure that he sends someone into my life that will preach the gospel, that will introduce him to me. So I say make the effort. Just start, just make the effort. And by doing that, you are opening the door for God to come in, and before you know it, you are saved. Before you know it, you receive the gift of the Holy Spirit. Before you know it, you are on fire for Jesus. You are deep within your walk with him. You Before you know it, you are aligning with his will for your life. He shows you your purpose. He shows you who you are in him. You start learning things about yourself. Just like that, you are within. You have a relationship with Christ. You journeying with him. You know yourself. You know what you're here to do. You know your purpose. You're aligning with his will. You're walking with him. You also experience moments of conviction. I know that sometimes you might fall short. Sometimes you might experience doubt. But keep going. Just keep doing this thing with him. God's love is patient, it's kind, it's merciful, and just journeying with him, it's literally the best decision you can ever make for your life. And yeah, he will lead you, he will show you the way, he will shine his light on your path, he will illuminate your path. So yeah, that's the story of how I got called. And if you feel like God is calling you to start that business, do it. Call unto him, and he will show you how to do it. He will guide you on how to start. He will give you the guiding lines. He will give you the step. Just be ready to obey. Even if you feel like this instruction does not make sense, it's just not who I am. It doesn't make sense. God sees the bigger picture. He doesn't see things how we see them. You might be thinking from the point of view of your current circumstances, but God sees, the bigger picture. He can see into the future. He knows why he's instructing you to do that, to take that step. So just be obedient. And if you suspect that God is calling you to something, and you have an idea in on what he's calling you to do, be obedient. Take that first step that he's telling you to take, even if it doesn't make sense. Just do it. He knows best. So yeah, that is the story of how I got called. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I will be seeing you in the next one.